Welcome back. You are attending a course on standard C++, programming with standard C++, object-oriented programming with standard C++, as per ISO and C standards. The course is brought to you by Subbaraj Academy. We are at lesson 8C. In 8A lesson, we looked at member functions. In lesson 8B, we looked at friend functions. And now, lesson 8C, we are looking at constructors and destructors. They are also functions. Constructor, destructor, they are also functions. So the whole of 8th chapter is on these three topics: member function, friend function, constructors, and destructors. We briefly discussed about constructors. Constructors are member functions with a unique identity as that of the class in which it is defined. And we also discussed that there is no return data type specified. It's not prefixed to the name of the constructor. These were the two differences. And we also discussed about the importance of the constructor because it helps in implicitly initializing the objects as soon as they're created. You know, the object or instance of class. Initially, we discussed about explicitly initializing the data members of the object. We used a function called void in data. There you have to call specifically to assign values to the data members, but constructor does it automatically as soon as the object is created. We look at parameterized constructor. Okay, now we look at more different types of constructors and constructor overloading in this chapter. What is function overloading? We discussed about that I think earlier. We can define multiple functions with the same name, but with different signatures, different type of arguments. We can have a function add with two floating point numbers, the arguments, another function add with 3 integers, and one more function add with 4 doubles, all in the same program. So here the function add is overloaded. When we call function add with 4 doubles, then the function with 4 doubles will be called. And similarly, when we call add with 3 integers, the corresponding function will be called. That is the secret behind function overloading. The constructor and destructors. C++ has a special arrangement for assigning initial values for the objects, right? And destroying the objects when they go out of scope. Both constructors, that is, for creating the object, assigning initial values to an object is done by carried out by constructor, and the allocating space allocated to the object is done by the destructor. When a class contains constructor, you can be sure that the object will definitely be initialized. Object will be initialized, not the class. Class will not be initialized. Class will initialize. No. Then the object will be there's something wrong here. When a class contains a constructor, then definitely then the objects will be initialized. Note this, there is no need for class to be initialized. So the constructor has the same name as that of the class with no prefixing or return type. Constructor function with minor modifications. Its purpose is to initialize implicitly the objects on creation. Now, in this lesson, we look at overloading of constructors. So, before that, you should also know what is a constructor with default argument or default argument, right? I'm also correcting this slide. Okay. So, you have, after including IO stream, you have the namespace std is used, and you have the account with two data members. Then the public constructor is always public constructor, and more functions are always public, declared in the public domain. The name is same as the class, and the parameters match the data members. So int x double y is equal to 100. This is new to you. And number is equal to x is equal to number, balance is equal to y. And you got a function display. So this is called default arguments. So suppose it may be bank account. It may be bank account, and you need to have an initial deposit of 100 rupees or $100. And some people may deposit more. So in which case that will be taken into as balance. If not, 100 will be taken automatically as balance. Look at the main function. Account money 002. That means we are not specifying how much he is going to pay, but unless he pays $100, the account will not be opened. So we can assume that balance is equal to 100. And money dot display, then account Lakshmi, here she is paying more, 200,075 rupees or dollars. So here she is going to pay more. So this will override 100. So the money will, when your money dot display will say 002 100, and Lakshmi will say 003 275. So we have made provision that if nothing is specified to one of the data members, it should be initialized with default value. That's what we did. If a value is specified to the same data member by the user, then that should override the default value. This is the purpose of constructor with default arguments. So suppose the user gives you the second argument, you take it. If not, you initialize with the default argument on creation of the object. So the default constructor for any class is a constructor with no arguments. So here we talk about default argument, constructor with default arguments. Default constructor is another. The default constructor for any class is a constructor with no arguments. When no arguments are passed, the constructor will assign the value specifically assigned in the body of the constructor. It can be 0 or any other value. The default constructor can be identified by the name of the class followed by empty parenthesis. Here it's not empty. Here we had something here. But in the default constructor, you will have an empty parenthesis after account. And you can say whatever values you want to give. It can be 0, 0, numbers equal to 0, balance equal to 0, or whatever you want to give, you can give. That's the default constructor. So now we look at the overloading constructor. We have seen a couple of constructors. Parametric constructors, constructor with the default arguments, and default constructor. Overloading means, go back to the definition of overloading means one name any function. We can define multiple functions, in this case multiple constructor. The same name, okay, constructor all have the same name, but with different types of arguments. Okay, that's what we are going to do. So we have a constructor here, according to the name of the class, we have a constructor here, which is a default constructor. So see, empty parenthesis. And we are assigning 0 to number and balance to 0. So you have a default constructor. We'll have more constructors. So here in this program, we have done only one. See, the data members are 2, account and number. Here, okay, we are sending it to 0. we initialize them to 0 in the default constructor. Here, here we have to give only one argument. That means the second argument will be initialized to 0 in the constructor. Or any other values. You can have it for 100 also. This is the second constructor. Okay, it doesn't match the number of arguments, number of parameters are less than the number of data members. Okay, this is another constructor. Then the real parameterized constructor with int x and double y and the assign x to number, y to balance. So we have three constructors here. One is the default constructor, another one is the default argument, then we have function y display. Let's say account number and balance. Now, depending on the input given, the appropriate constructor will be called. So, int main, in the main function, account will be no arguments. So, what will happen? Number will be 0, balance will be 0. Because this is the default constructor. This is account money, okay, 002. So, what will happen? Account number will be true, and balance will be 0. This is not default constructor. You can say in a way it is a constructor with default argument. The third one is parameter constructor. Account number is 3, and the balance is 200,075. So all three are printed here properly. So what we have done, we use the same constructor with the same name to carry out, to assign differently the objects that were created. So this is called constructor overloading. Or there is one more constructor called copy constructor. Okay, what is here? The constructor assigns the values of data members of an existing object to a new object at the time of creation. So I'll explain to you right now. You have the class account. You have the number and balance of the data members, and the account is the constructor with int x double y is equal to 100. Default constructor default argument. So if nothing is specified for y, it will assign it to 100. And next is, this is what it is, copy constructor, where we are passing an object. Account is the class. Address of AC1. AC1 is an object. We are passing the address of the object. This is a better way. If you can pass the object itself, but passing the object, address of object means you are passing a reference. That's the better way of doing it. So here number is equal to AC1 dot number and balance is equal to AC1 dot balance. So you are going to pass an object. So that object number will be assigned as initial values to the object created using this constructor. So you have two constructors. One is a default constructor with default argument, and the constructor where copy constructor, where you are passing an existing object. So you have a display function. So account money 002 to 1000. So default was 100. So it will print 1000 to 1000. Then look at next one. That's very interesting. Account Lakshmi, and we are passing an object money. Money is an object of class account. So what will happen? So the same 002 1000 will be assigned to Lakshmi. The account Lakshmi money. So what happens is the address of money, address of money is passed on. So the same values which the object money has it, that will be assigned to the Lakshmi object. Clear? So we also see the copy constructor. Now it's time for us to look at destructor. What is destructor? Constructor builds an object. A destructor destroys an object after it is no longer in use. Not before. Find it. The destructor like constructor is a member function with the name same as the class name. Like constructor also same name. The destructor also same name. But it will be preceded by a character tilde. See this. Tilde. For instance, destructor of class account will be coded as follows. The tilde and account means is a destructor of the accounts class. And you can have code here between the opening brace and the closing brace. Okay. So this is destructor. So destructor and constructor have the same name as other class. Special privilege. Unlike constructors, destructors do not receive any argument, not even void. The constructors, some of them receive arguments, some of them don't. But destructor does not receive any values. In the past, we were not declaring destructors. However, the compiler will automatically destroy, compiler or the IDE will automatically destroy the objects after the compiler will automatically destroy the object after the program execution is completed. Specifying destructor will ensure that all objects created are destroyed before the program execution stops. So that way you will eliminate memory leak. If memory allocated or not claimed back, then memory leak occurs. So you will eliminate memory leak. Destroy essentially means reallocating the memory space. So memory is also like money. CPU time is also like money. So you have to conserve them. Okay? So let us write a program that will have both constructors and destructors. So we have the class name, class, but here before the class there is integer object count. We declare the integer object count. Okay, class accounts, same members, number and balance, and the class, the account constructor of account class, same name, and it is the default constructor. The values are then values are initialized to 0. Whenever an object is created, if you use this, it will automatically assign the initial values 0 to the data members. See out first constructor object number. See out object count. Okay. When you use this counter, it will print these two first constructor. This is the first constructor, which is a default constructor. And the object number also will be printed. And see out count object created. What is our count? Look here, object count is here, initialized here. So the object count will be printed whenever a new object is created using the default constructor. The object will be incremental. So here another constructor. Okay, this is again with a single argument. Okay, you can say like a default argument. Number is equal to x is equal to number, 0 is equal to balance. Object count, this is second constructor. So we have the second constructor, and the object number will also be printed. So this is another constructor, third constructor. It is a parameterized constructor. You have int x and double y, and the values will be given, and the object count will also be incremented. So whenever you call, we have three constructors in this program. One is the default constructor, the other is the constructor with default argument, and the third is a parameterized constructor. So whenever you invoke the constructor will be corresponding constructor will be invoked when you create an object. When you create an object, the count of the object is incremented, and also it tells you which constructor we are using. So then we have a destructor. Name, see the tilde and the name of the class account, and no parameters are passed. See out from destructor object number. So it will also print out object count when it is destroying. Object count destroyed. Very interesting program, isn't it? So in the main function, account Joseph 001, only one argument. So the constructor with default argument will be invoked. Which is that? We are the second constructor. Second constructor will be invoked. Then no arguments. That is default constructor. The first constructor will be invoked. Again, the second second constructor will be invoked. Then the Lakshmi It is a parameterized constructor. So both the arguments are there. So naturally, the third constructor will be invoked. Got it? So because look here, there is only one argument. So the second constructor will be invoked for creating Joseph object. Here, no arguments, default constructor. So to create any object, first constructor will be invoked. And here again, one argument. So second constructor will be invoked. Here, two arguments. So we are really overloading the constructors. So here, two arguments. So the parameterized constructor will be invoked. Then the third constructor. So we'll get the message when we execute the program. So this is the message I got. This is the result of the program. When executed, I get this result. I explained to you also what will happen at each step. So, see, the second constructor was created. Initially, second constructor and object number 1 created. Then the first constructor, second time, object 2 was created using first constructor. The third time, again, I told you, second constructor will be invoked, right? And fourth time, the third time object number 3 is created using second constructor, and the fourth time, the third constructor is invoked and object number 4 created. Then the job is over. We have displayed it. So what happens? First, object number 4 will be destroyed. Then 3 will be destroyed. Then 2 will be destroyed, and 1 will be destroyed. This is how the destructor works. Hope you understood it. It's a very interesting example. I hope you understood it. So the 1, 2, 3, 4 was created, and when you're destroying, the last one is destroyed first. Reverse order is destroyed. So you are sure that you are not occupying memory unnecessarily. So this completes the very important topic of constructors and destructors and overloading of constructors. Okay. So go through the programs, execute the programs using your IDE in your computer. Okay. Thank you for watching. That's all for now. Until we meet again. Bye bye.